Some people are so damaged. Any innocent thing you say can be twisted and turned, and they can react in a startling manner. Example, a friend of mine, Ruth. That's her real name in case she reads this, because it might help her. She was decorating my kitchen. She loves decorating. She asked me if I had a scrubbing brush. I said, yeah. I showed you one yesterday when I brought you out of the drawer.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I'm sure you remember.
No, you didn't.
I walked into the front room just to get out of the way, knowing that this was getting out of hand. She followed me in, saying...
No, you didn't.
Don't worry about it, Ruth.
No, you didn't.
Okay, whatever you say.
But you didn't.
The problem is, she talks and talks and has to keep being busy. Because if she stops to relax or to think objectively about something, she starts to cry because of her traumatic past. And everyone but herself is to blame when things go wrong. Like in relationships or with people she meets. It's very sad. I would say her future is bleak, peace of mind wise, because of her history. Or because of her story.
I've always been interested in why people undervalue themselves. Also, why people value themselves. What is this sense of self-esteem that some have? Is it wealth, health, physical beauty? Or belonging to a group of like-minded people? I.e., having plenty of friends? Or is it having a marriage that works? Having children? Or having a job that you think is important? Or is self-esteem something deeper? Some inner knowing, inner reality that's more meaningful? Is it a trust that you know you're all right really, although you know you're far from perfect, but hopefully on the road to perfection? Dare I say, possibly that we are spiritual beings, and that deep inside ourselves there is a love that is unconditional.
Could it be that all human beings have this capacity to love unconditionally? Probably not. Just those that had a secure and loving childhood.
Sun's rays sparkling through my window pane. Feeling good. Feeling happy. Peaceful.
Another day dawns. The sun shines. The snow falls.
Hilary terminates her existence because she cannot bear to be in her body anymore. It's too painful to live.
And I'm feeling happy. Just another day.
A child dies somewhere in the world of malnutrition, swollen belly, eyes vacant. She succumbs to death, which lulls her to sleep.
Just another day, and I'm happy.
A terrorist plants a bomb that kills a soldier and his child, and rejoices in the act of violence on fellow human beings.
Just another day, and I'm happy.
Remembrance Day in Flanders Fields, the 1914-1918 war, when humans slaughtered other humans, regardless of their being fellow humans.
And still the poppies grew in Flanders Fields.
Just another day. So why am I happy?
I don't know if I've said this before, but I feel that my will has been broken. Some essence of togetherness inside shattered years ago. If you look closer at me, at my eyes, you will see a dread of life.
It's Christmas Day.
So this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, and you won't just begun.
And I'm alone. Again.
So this is
How does one get to this state? Is it a history rejection by my mother that's the cause of my isolation? Does one's past create one's future so completely? Are we really unable to do anything about the future? Or is loneliness a lack of love, as I once read?
I was writing bliss on the downs, on the edge of Whitehawk, Brighton. The wind was whistling through the branches, freezing my hands, making it hard to write. The view was wonderful. The sky so blue. The sun was out and there was a lovely warmth from it, making me feel a sort of painless euthanasia of my feelings, even making me feel sort of mystical. Perhaps that's what junkies get when they take heroin.
I've been able to write for about 3 months. Since I had that turmoil with Ivan and Tanya and my emotional dependence on Susan. It's all changed now, Susan. In fact, I think I could grow to resent having met her because of my own inadequacy.
This is so self-indulgent.
I wonder if anybody will really want to read all this. The thoughts of a modern-day Robinson Crusoe.
If you're going to San Francisco,
We lost the 60s idea through fear.
Crusoe would love to return to the 60s, when society was more optimistic and loving.
That's all gone now. Pessimism and anxiety and aggression.
We were warned by the hippies that if they weren't accepted through love, that would happen.
The hippies' revenge.
Happy New Year.
The concept of low self-esteem seems to be in vogue. Princess Diana spoke about it on the TV programme Panorama. She spoke about her difficulties with her marriage to Prince Charles. It was also on the front cover of The Big Issue, the street magazine for homeless people. And on the TV programme Kilroy, which was about self-mutilation and low self-esteem concerning women.
Is this a malaise of contemporary society? Or is it just a media hype word? Maybe it's just a condition of human existence. High and low self-esteem. Treat these two imposters just the same.
There should be a book written on how to survive Brighton. One thing I've found out is that you don't take it, or even the people, too seriously.
That might sound like a harsh thing to say, but that is the nature of the beast. What I mean is, it's a hello, goodbye sort of town. Tinsel town.
The people who live here, or who've made their lives here, probably live very active lives and are into all sorts of activities outside their own domesticities. Things like dancing, singing, writing groups, yoga, tai chi, religious groups, psychology meetings, humanist groups, state of the nation groups, moral and ethical groups. There are healing groups, sidekick groups, political discussion groups, old age discussion groups, gender bender groups, gay groups, social issue groups, single people meeting groups, history of Brighton groups, musicians even performing other people's houses for a small fee. If you're into creativity, the scope is enormous in Brighton.
A lot of the people attending these groups are married, but people are coming and going all the time. The transience of the place is obvious. Brighton is a place of people in transit. There's always a shoulder to cry on, to tell your story to. You think you're important to somebody, and they're important to you. You then find out they have many friends who are just as important. You're just another face, another body.
Not really needed.
People flirt with each other. I don't just mean sexually. You make friends easily, and they leave you just as easily, and it doesn't mean anything. Not really leave you. You just stop contacting each other. It's as though you're all sort of tired and bored, and need somebody else who's new and exciting. You'll speak if you see each other in the street, but usually that's all.
Brightonians become desensitised to each other. If somebody walked down the street naked, people wouldn't be too perturbed by it. If an alien walked down the street, people would think he belongs to an unusual sect, or he's got a new way of wearing clothes. Nothing unusual.
All this might sound ideal and exciting, But there's a price to pay for this. And that is that there's a feeling of no real depth to anything. Easy come, easy go.
Noticed that misfits seem to feel at home here. They always seem to have someone to talk to, a companion to confide in, male or female integrated together. I see young women with older men drinking cans of beer on the streets, deep in conversation, sitting anywhere, even on the ground.
Brighton opens people up. But because of the atmosphere, it becomes very hard for them to come down or close down. Because of this, they become susceptible to a lot of divergent activities at a cost to their mental stability.
There's a feeling of emotionally incestuous behaviour. People open up about their personal lives, sometimes doubting that they should have done so.
There is only but one truly serious philosophical problem, and that is suicide.
Judging whether life is or is not worth living amounts to answering the fundamental question of philosophy. All the rest comes after, their games. They do not answer the fundamental question. Albert Camus.
Just read that Margot Hemingway has committed suicide. She was the granddaughter of Ernest Hemingway, the writer, who also committed suicide. Some uncles and an aunt committed suicide. Apparently, they all drank heavily, even the last casualty. Margot, is it in the genes?
The main cause of mental illness is a feeling of alienation. Why should anybody alienate themselves willingly? Humans are basically gregarious animals. It's more likely unwillingly. The feelings I believe, are those of self-preservation. In order to not be overwhelmed by feelings of inadequacy in the company of others, some people prefer their own company.
The trouble is, the more you alienate yourself, the more difficult it becomes to integrate.
You lose social skills, even little things like acknowledging other people. Or, as is becoming more common these days, you integrate into a subculture of drugs and drink. Squatting seems to reflect this, as well as providing a shelter. It brings people together who, with their very homelessness, have a feeling of sharing their alienation.
You could see this happening in the spaces underneath the Royal Festival Hall in London, where people made their homes back in the 70s. They had beds, blankets, wardrobes, cabinets, crockery, heating facilities, and so on. It was like an open-air home. Westminster Council cleared them out because it was affecting the tourist trade of Westminster.